What if your anniversary party, meant to celebrate love, turned into the ultimate public humiliation, orchestrated by your own wife? I thought we were patching things up, but what happened next wasn't just a party. It was a public execution of our marriage, complete with a shocking twist I never saw coming, and trust me, her ultra-wealthy, snobbish family, who always hated me, suddenly turned on her. Okay, so I'm 25, and I've been married to Veronica, also 25, for 3 years. We've been together for 6.
And right now?
We're headed for divorce. She's blaming me for it, which, honestly, feels completely unfair. The reason? Not only did she have an affair with her boss, but she decided it would be a fantastic idea to try and humiliate me at our anniversary party, in front of all our friends and family, by bragging about her affair. But here's the kicker. Things did not go according to her plan. And now she's bargaining, wanting me to make everything right again. For the last year or so, our marriage had been tough. And honestly, most of it was because of her family. I was used to fighting with Veronica because of them, but this was new. They were pressuring us to have a baby. Even Veronica bought into it. But I just wasn't ready. Financially, I didn't think we were there yet, and I absolutely did not want to rely on her family for money. They already looked down on me. Always have ever since I started dating her. It was clear I'd never live up to their standards. Veronica's parents are both doctors, stinking rich. Her 2 older brothers are also doing incredibly well. So, yeah, she's super spoiled. From college, I knew I couldn't afford her lifestyle anytime soon. That's not inferiority. That's just honesty. Practicality. My single mom did her best to educate me, so I'm serious about my career. I want to get ahead before kids. I'm only 25. I'm not running out of time. Plus, if we had a baby now, it would be really difficult to maintain our lifestyle. We're both early in our careers. I thought that was pretty obvious. But Veronica? She refused to understand. Her parents thought it was time because we'd been married 3 years, so that was it. No questions asked. No consequences considered. We fought about it constantly. She pushed, I resisted. Months of arguments. Her family didn't help. They added fuel to the fire, constantly offering to take care of the baby's finances. To Veronica, it felt like help. To me, it felt incredibly disrespectful, given how they'd always treated me. Right from the beginning, my in-laws made it clear I wasn't good enough. Not enough money. They've been openly snobbish. They never treated me like family. Even now, they're pressuring their daughter to have my kid, but I suspect it's just because they're bored and want grandkids. Either way, I was not taking their money. It would be humiliating. She, of course, thought I was being egoistic and narcissistic. We fought over that, too. She thought I disliked her family, and yeah, I had good reason to. So, that's been the last few months. Really bad. I hadn't considered divorce because after every fight, she'd eventually try to make it up to me, and we'd fall back into this toxic pattern. I still loved her, so I didn't want to just give up. But after what happened, I think I have to. In the weeks leading up to our 3rd anniversary, she started being extra nice. We hadn't had a single fight. I actually started thinking maybe we were patching things up, that she finally understood my point of view. I was excited for the party she was planning. I had no idea what was coming. The party was 4 days ago. Right now, everything is a total hot mess. At the party, all our friends and family were there. Veronica and I were getting along great. But then, everything changed. As soon as her boss showed up, it felt like she went from being my wife to his. She left my side, started getting touchy with him. He reciprocated. It was so weird to watch. I was so shocked, I couldn't even speak. A few minutes later, she decided to make a speech. I thought it was for me. And technically it was. But not how I expected. She started talking about our 3 years of marriage, our 6 years together, the good times. Then she pivoted. Talked about wanting a baby, how I wasn't ready, how I wouldn't listen. My stomach dropped. This was incredibly personal. Why was she airing this to a room full of people? I tried to tell her to stop, but she just kept going, talking about all our fights, airing all our dirty laundry. I was so uncomfortable. Everyone was giving me weird looks. She was making me out to be the bad guy. And then it got worse. She started talking about how tired she was of fighting with me, how it had taken its toll. She'd broken down at work one day. Her boss, Nathan, 39, had a chat with her. Instead of scolding her, he was there for her as a friend. That's when they started bonding. This was about a month ago. Within a week, they were spending all their time together at work after work just talking. Soon enough, she started feeling like she'd made a mistake marrying me. Nathan, she said, was the perfect guy for her. In every aspect. Then she announced it. She'd wasted enough of her time with me. She needed someone who actually understood her. She told me I'd hurt her so much over the past few months. So, on our 3rd anniversary, she was setting me free. She was leaving, moving in with Nathan. I literally just froze. Even now, thinking about it, I go blank. I don't know what to say. Of course, I have things to say. I was hurt. I was angry, humiliated, but I just couldn't form words. I was in complete shock. Since I couldn't speak, nobody else dared to for a while. Until my in-laws spoke up. That was the truly unexpected part. These people, who had only ever spoiled Veronica rotten, who'd openly disrespected me, suddenly changed. My father-in-law spoke first. He said what she'd done was disgusting. He wanted nothing more to do with her. He sounded furious. He walked out. My mother-in-law followed, not even looking back. Her brothers were there too. Veronica looked at them for help, but they just told her what she'd done was horrible and they couldn't stand for it either. Then they left. Slowly, all the other guests started leaving. Nobody had anything to say. It was just awkward. Finally, I came to my senses. Get out, I told Veronica. Get out of this house with all your things. Now. I don't even want to look at you. She didn't argue. She just went to our room and started packing with Nathan. Within an hour, they were gone. Only 2 people stayed. My mother and my younger brother. My older brother lives out of state, but he was there too. After Veronica and Nathan left, my mom and brother let me cry on their shoulders for hours. I completely broke down. My brother left the next day, but my mother is still here. My older brother has been in touch. It's been helpful, knowing I'm not alone. They've already put me in touch with an attorney. In a few days, I'm filing for divorce. Right after it happened, I was sure. Divorce. Done. Never wanted to see her again. But then, 2 days ago, she reached out, begging me to forgive her. She said she'd made a huge mistake, but she was just trying to get back at me for how I'd been treating her. She said she was hurt. She sent proof of her quitting her job, swore she'd cut all ties with Nathan, that she was staying with a friend. Said she'd realized she'd only done all this to get my attention and make me jealous, but she'd gone about it the wrong way. She even reassured me that things with Nathan had been strictly emotional. Yeah, right. I can't trust her on that. Not after everything. Now, she's pushing for marriage counseling. Another chance. We've been together so long, she said. We've gone through tough times and always come out stronger. We owe it to each other. She claimed she'd felt misunderstood by me, sick of the constant fights, which is why she did something so crazy and extreme. She regretted it, but knew we could make it work. It's been a lot to process. I'm so confused. She's bringing up all these things I supposedly did wrong. She says I've been emotionally distant, that my strained relationship with her in-laws caused our fights. She claims she made an effort with my family, but I never did with hers. Which isn't the same thing. My family never looked down on her. I'll admit, I had been distant, but that was because we were fighting so much. I figured if we didn't interact, we couldn't fight. But none of it, explains what she did. My friends and family agree. My mom even suggested Veronica is only trying to fix things because her family clearly didn't approve of her public stunt, and she doesn't want to lose access to their wealth. Could be true. I don't know what to think anymore. Update 1 *. Thank you, everyone who commented and supported me. It truly means the world right now. I was so confused, so lost. I actually started to think maybe she had a point. It took a lot of convincing from my friends, family, and all of you to make me realize she absolutely didn't. But now that I knew, I wasn't going to entertain her baloney. She'd been texting nonstop for 5 days. I finally responded. I told her there was no explanation for what she did. I was just as upset with her as she had been with me, probably more. I'd always tried to understand her, but she never did the same for me. And even though I was upset, something like that would never have occurred to me. Not only is it humiliating, it's bizarre. I told her I'd loved her more than she loved me, because I never would have done that to her. I also told her it was disgusting that she was trying to gaslight me into believing this was somehow my fault, that I'd pushed her to do something like this. I had a reasonable explanation for my behavior. I was emotionally distant because every time we talked, we fought. And we fought because she refused to understand me. But I always forgave her because I did understand her. About her family, I was happy they took a stand, but it wasn't for my sake. She tried to claim they'd accepted me and stood up for me.
No.
They were just upset Veronica had done something so stupid, ruining their reputation in front of so many relatives. For her to manipulate that, to make her family look good so I'd feel guilty? It was silly. The truth is, they always disliked me. They never gave me a chance. My comfort with them not liking me, my refusal to try harder for their approval, probably made them even angrier. That's probably why they meddled, manipulating Veronica, and she fell for it. I told her I found her and her entire family manipulative and cutting. I even put forward my mother's theory. She was probably doing this because she didn't want to lose access to her family and their money. I could be wrong, but given the circumstances, I could be right. Veronica always knew I didn't want a baby until I reached a certain career stage. She was fine with it initially, but as soon as her parents pressured her, she had to have a baby. I'd always overlooked these things because I loved her, but not anymore. She'd always been the type of daughter who did everything her parents asked, and they spoiled her rotten in return. That's how their family works.
But I don't work like that.
I didn't want to be part of this anymore. I ended the message by telling her I'd already filed for divorce the day before, and she'd be served soon. I hoped she found the terms fair. Equal split, no alimony. We'd just go our separate ways. I sent that message about an hour ago, and I felt so relieved since. I got so much off my chest. It feels so much better now that it's finally done. Update 2 * last evening, I sent that message. She didn't respond immediately, but she showed up at the house this morning. Furious, ringing the doorbell. I told her to go away. I was leaving for work. I didn't want drama. But she screamed that the house still belonged to her. She'd paid her share of the rent. True.
So I let her in.
As soon as she was inside, she started screaming. Said my message was horrible. She couldn't believe I thought that of her. I didn't have time to argue. I just told her she'd said a lot of things too in her messages and at the party. I couldn't believe what she thought of me. So, fair enough. We were finally being truthful. She cursed at me, saying she'd already acknowledged her huge mistake, quit her job, showing how serious she was about making our marriage work. She wanted me to take it seriously. I just stood there,
silent,
while she yelled. When she couldn't scream anymore, I finally spoke. I told her I'd had enough. I couldn't do this anymore. I'd loved her for a long time, and that's why I'd put up with a lot of things. Not just her family, but more in our marriage. We were always different people. Even when dating and in early marriage, she had a tendency to flirt, to do things just to annoy me or make me jealous. It was cute in college, but later it became weird, embarrassing. Sometimes when she was mad or if I was out with friends, she'd go out of her way to get clingy with other guys. Normal people don't behave like that. That was forgivable, but I never imagined it would lead to what happened recently. I'm pretty sure what happened with Nathan was just an exaggerated version of things she'd already tried. And on top of that, she's always been spoiled, entitled, and manipulative. She'd do whatever it took to get her way. I always bent over backward for her, because I knew I couldn't give her the lifestyle she was used to with her parents. But the least I could do was try to be the man she wanted me to be. For as long as we'd been together, I'd been the one trying to be perfect for her. She never thought it was important to change for me. It took me a really long time to accept that. And obviously, the recent incident truly shook me up. I couldn't live in denial anymore. These were the facts. And now that I'd finally realized them, I couldn't ignore them and pretend everything was fine just because I loved Veronica. I had to respect myself. That's why I had to leave. I told her all of that, and then asked her to leave me alone, as politely as I could. She was quiet while I talked. Once I was done, she told me I was making a huge mistake, that I'd regret it when I finally lost her. I told her I highly doubted that would happen. Then she let out an almost never-ending string of curse words at me. And she walked out, slammed the door as hard as she could. But ultimately, she left. And now we're getting that divorce. Update 3 asterisk, it's been a couple of months. We don't have a waiting period in our state, so Veronica and I wrapped things up quickly. The divorce came through 2 weeks ago. We're officially done. And honestly, I wish I could say I feel bad, but I really don't. I feel relieved.
Free.
Like this is something I should have done a long time ago, but I needed a huge wake-up call. The past few months have been pretty uneventful. After that last conversation, where I laid everything out, she blocked me everywhere within a few days. She responded to my divorce petition, but to my surprise, she demanded alimony. Apparently, we'd been living off her parents' money, and now that they were mad at her and refusing to transfer funds, I didn't want to stay with her. She was trying to make me out to be a gold digger. I spoke to her in person. I told her I could get everybody involved, and things would get ugly for her and her family, because even she knew none of this was true. She was just trying to get on my nerves. But pettiness and childishness wouldn't fly when legal stuff was involved. I told her my lawyer, and I would come for her if she didn't modify her petition to be more honest. And for some reason it worked. Probably because she didn't want to make her parents even more upset than she already had with her stunt at our anniversary party. Anyway, nothing major really happened after that. We wrapped up the divorce, and we've gone our separate ways. I've heard from a couple of friends that she's, well, let's just say her life isn't going as smoothly as mine. On the other hand, my life has been amazing. I threw myself into my job after I filed for divorce. I desperately needed a distraction. I'm about to receive a promotion pretty soon. I really feel like my life has started to turn around, and I'm incredibly grateful for everything that's going well for me right now. So, after hearing all of that, what do you think? Have you ever dealt with someone so manipulative, especially when they were trying to gaslight you into believing you were the problem? I'd love to hear your experiences in the comments below.